for more on this rivalry between these two great soccer cities and Keith Bleyer.
Arlo, Christopher, it may be the first ever Major League Soccer match between the Sounders and the Whitecaps, but this goes back quite a while, this rivalry. How about 122 meetings over the last 37 years? And you mentioned the 500 Whitecaps fans over my right shoulder that have made the trip down south. They are ready for this one. It is the Cascadia Cup debut this season for the Whitecaps. Obviously, they don't like each other, but this is not exactly the hate-hate relationship that the Sounders have with the Timbers. It's more like the pesky neighbor peering over the fence. The Sounders and the Whitecaps back in the top tier since 1979. It's great. Back upstairs.
Let's head down to the sideline to Keith Bleyer. Keith, you've got a Whitecap and Sounders legend with you.
Yes, a man who's been connected to this rivalry for the better part of 5 decades, Alan Hinton. I don't mean to date you, but we go back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now here we are in 2011. You coached and played for the Whitecaps. You coached the Sounders. This has to bring memories flooding back for you.
Well, it's wonderful for me. I never thought I would see it happen again, so happy days are here for me, for the players I played with and coached, and the fans. And I got to tell all the fans, all North American Soccer League coaches and players around America, this is a great scene here, great crowd, and we're all proud to be a part of it.
It is a special moment. Any memory or two that comes back to you, going back to those NASL days?
Well, the Whitecaps Sounders were always a big-time deal. By the way, this is a very competitive game tonight and exciting, but I remember those days big time. I-5 rivalries back with Paul in Seattle, Vancouver. Great franchise here in Seattle, and the future's very, very bright, and it's a wonderful thing for me to see it all happening again.
Alan, thank you, and thank you for coaching me about 30 years ago.
I did my best to do that, okay?
I will. All right, upstairs to Arlo, Christopher.
It's a reunion down there on the sideline between Keith and Alan. Fabulous stuff, Keith. Thanks very much indeed. Let's head back down to the sideline to Keith Bleyer. Keith, you've been talking to the coaches at halftime.
Yeah, both Coach Sohn and Coach Schmidt. Tommy Sohn for the Vancouver Whitecaps, very pleased with his first half. There's no question about that. He thinks they need to possess the ball a little bit more now, play with some joy, to use his word. He was a little bit concerned about the far post on the service from Seattle. As for Ziggy Schmidt, he was a little bit upset. Obviously, they were calling for the red card on the foul by Rocha, but about 15 minutes prior to that, he thought the Sounders should have been given a penalty kick on a push from behind on one of his forwards. But he expects a much better performance out of his team in the second half, boys. Eric, thank you very much. With Jay Demerit, we both looked at each other with a wild-eyed look. I mean, that game turned upside down, then righted itself, and then upside down again. An emotional roller coaster, huh?
Yeah, I suppose to the fans, everything a derby should be. But yeah, we let it get away from us. They scored a good goal there towards the end. We've showed the character all year that we come back from those types of things, and we did. Eric scored an unbelievable goal. But, you know, then they come back as well, and, you know, it turns into a good game, and I think we're all a bit tired, but fair result, I think, in the end.
Now, you were up 1-0, 15 minutes to play. You get down 2-1. Here's a team in the Whitecaps that have gone 13 without a victory. How do you keep your confidence in that moment?
I think we just keep trying to show the character we have all season long. You know, we've turned losses like this into draws, and you know, we need to worry about why that happens and how we can stay ahead. That's about being solid as a team, not just as a defense, but as an 11. And you know, we didn't do that well enough to close out the game. But for 75 minutes, we kept a good home team quiet, and you know, those types of things are positive that you have to take into the next games. You
talk about a goal out of the top drawer. I mean, Hasley's strike was amazing. I haven't seen one like that in a while. Yeah, you know, again, that's why we've brought him here. It's to score goals just like that, you know, and hopefully that's just the beginning. We'll see more from the big guy. All right, Jay, thank you very much. Thank you. That's Jay Demerit, the captain of the Whitecaps. Mixed emotions for sure. Let's go back to the studio. Arlo, thank you, with Tommy Sohn. You know, talk about emotions, right? A 1-0 game with 15 to play. We see 3 more goals. I'm not even sure what question to ask aside from how'd you handle that?
A heart attack, I think. No, you know, we knew it's going to be a difficult environment to play in, and one thing we wanted to focus on is making sure that we were able to pressure them and get some turnovers, which we did in the first half. When we got our goal coming in at halftime, we knew they were going to come out flying, and they did. And to their credit, that they possessed the ball very well, made it difficult for us. You know, then giving up the first goal, our heads went down and led to the second, and then, you know, the goal by Eric was just phenomenal strike. I mean, that big player step up at that time, and Yeah, what a great goal.
It's one of those where you see it and you think to yourself, did he try to do that? Did he mean to do that? And I think he did.
Yeah, when you're around him every day and you see the way he trains and he pulls stuff like that off all the time, it's a great goal.
Yeah. When your team went down 2-1, you know, a group that's been struggling a little bit, 13 in a row without a victory. I mean, the character of your group in the final 7-8 minutes was huge.
Yeah, you know, they didn't give up and we kept pushing, and you know, we've been through a lot in the last couple of weeks, just organizationally what we're trying to change, and emotionally all the changes we've had. So I credit them for sticking together and fighting through, especially a crowd like this. You know, what a great atmosphere, and cheers to our fans who are fantastic today.
Tom, it's a result on the road against a rival. I think you have to be pleased. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
All right, that's Tommy Sohn. Let's go back upstairs to Arlo White.